Hello, my friend. Welcome to our sleeping story. The journey begins this time not in a room, but standing at the very edge of the world on a high mountain peak, where the air is thin and cold and pure, and the silence is so profound it feels like a physical weight resting on your shoulders. You are standing on a stone terrace built centuries ago by monks who sought the quiet of the clouds. The stone beneath your boots is gray and weather-worn smooth by the passage of time and the gentle erosion of the wind. You are wrapped in a heavy sheepskin cloak that reaches down to your ankles, keeping you warm and safe from the chill of the mist that swirls around you. The mist is a living thing, a white ocean that ebbs and flows, revealing glimpses of the valley floor miles below, before hiding it again in a blanket of cloud. You watch the mist moving. Swirl, drift. It is slow and hypnotic, a silent dance of water vapor. You feel a tiny droplet of moisture land on your cheek, cool and refreshing. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with the oxygen-rich air, which smells of damp stone and pine needles and distant snow. You turn away from the edge and walk towards the ancient stone watchtower that stands in the center of the terrace. The tower is round and sturdy, built of massive granite blocks that fit together perfectly without mortar. You run your gloved hand along the rough surface of stone, feeling the moss that grows in the crevices. You walk to the heavy wooden door, which is bound in iron bands rusted orange by the weather. You push the door open, and it swings inward on heavy hinges with a low groan that echoes in the stillness. Creak, thud. You step inside, and the wind stops instantly, cut off by the thick walls. The interior is dim and smells of old wood smoke and dried herbs. A fire is burning in the hearth, a small pile of peat glowing red and orange, giving off a gentle heat that warms the room. You walk over to the fire and hold your hands out to it, rubbing them together. You listen to the faint crackle of the peat. Pop, hiss. You look around the room. There is a simple wooden table and a chair. There is a narrow stone staircase winding up along the wall, leading to the top of the tower. You decide to climb. You place your hand on the cold stone of the wall and begin to ascend the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your footsteps are silent on the stone. You climb round and round, spiraling up into the darkness. You reach the top chamber, which has 4 open arch windows looking out in all 4 directions. You stand in the center of the room and turn slowly. You see the north, where the mountains rise up covered in eternal snow-white peaks against a gray sky. You see the south, where the forest stretches out like a green ocean. You see the east, where the sun is just beginning to rise, a faint line of pale gold on the horizon. You see the west, where the moon is fading away, a ghost in the morning light. You feel like the king of the world up here, but a benevolent king, a sleeping king. You sit down on a wooden bench built into the wall. You lean your head back against the stone. You close your eyes and listen to the wind whistling softly through the arches. Huh. It is a lonely sound, but not sad. It is the sound of solitude, the sound of peace. You let your mind drift with the wind. You imagine yourself floating out of the window, drifting on the currents of air. You float over the mountains, over the snow. You are weightless. You are free. You stay there for a long time until the sun has fully risen and the mist has begun to clear. You stand up and walk back down the stairs, your descent slow and measured. Round and round you go down into the warmth of the lower room. You walk out of the tower back onto the terrace. The view is cleared now. You can see a narrow, winding path leading down the mountain into the forest below. You decide to follow it. You wrap your cloak tighter and begin to walk. The path is steep and rocky, but your boots grip the ground firmly. Crunch, crunch, crunch. You walk down past hardy alpine flowers growing in the shelter of the rocks, tiny splashes of blue and yellow. You walk past twisted pine trees, their branches bent by the wind. You descend below the tree line, entering the forest. The light changes, instantly becoming green and filtered. The air becomes warmer and smells of resin and earth. You are entering the kingdom of the trees. The path widens, becoming a carpet of soft brown pine needles that silence your steps. You walk through the tall, straight trunks that rise up like pillars in a cathedral. You look up and see the canopy far above, blocking out the sky. You feel safe here, protected by the wood. You hear the sound of a stream nearby, a faint trickling sound. Trickle, splash, trickle. You follow the sound, leaving the path and walking through the ferns. You find the stream, a clear ribbon of water rushing over smooth gray stones. You kneel down and dip your hand in the water. It is ice cold. You splash some on your face. You sit on a large mossy boulder beside the stream. The moss is thick and soft like green velvet. You run your hand over it, feeling the damp texture. You watch the water flowing. It moves endlessly, never stopping, never tiring. Rush, gurgle, rush, gurgle. You spot a small trout holding its position in the current, its tail flicking gently. You watch it for minutes. It is a master of the water. You feel a drowsiness settling over you, brought on by the sound of the stream. You could sleep here on the moss, but you must continue your journey. You stand up and walk back to the path. You continue down the mountain, the slope becoming gentler. You walk for hours, finding a rhythm in your stride. Step, step, step. The forest begins to thin out, and you see a clearing ahead. In the clearing stands a small wooden cabin, smoke rising from its chimney. It looks inviting. You walk towards it. You smell baking bread. The scent draws you in. You walk up the wooden steps to the porch. You knock on the door. It opens, and you are welcomed into a warm kitchen filled with golden light. You step into the cabin, and the warmth wraps around you like a heavy blanket, instantly melting the chill of the mountain air from your bones. The room is cozy and cluttered in a comforting way, with dried herbs hanging from the rafters and bundles of sage and thyme and jars of preserved fruit lining the open shelves, glowing like amber and ruby jewels in the firelight. The floor is covered in thick braided rugs made of wool in shades of red and brown that feel soft and yielding under your tired feet. You are handed a thick slice of fresh warm bread slathered in yellow butter and a ceramic mug of steaming herbal tea that smells of chamomile and honey. You sit in a large wooden rocking chair near the stone hearth, the wood polished smooth by years of use. Rock, rock, rock. The chair moves with soothing, steady rhythm that matches the slow beating of your heart. Creak, creak. You eat the bread slowly, tasting the yeast and the salt and the richness of the butter. You sip the tea, feeling the heat travel down your throat, warming you from the inside out, relaxing the muscles in your chest and stomach. You watch the flames dancing in the fireplace, flicking orange and blue shadows against the log walls. You listen to the fire snapping softly. Pop, hiss. You feel your eyelids growing heavy in the heat, a pleasant drowsiness that pulls at you, but you know the journey continues. So you finish your tea and place the mug on a small side table. You stand up, stretching your legs, and bid farewell to the cabin, walking out the back door, which opens directly onto a wooden dock built over a wide, slow-moving river. The water here is dark and deep, moving with a silent, majestic power that commands respect. Tied to the dock is a long, flat-bottomed wooden boat, filled with soft velvet cushions and thick wool blankets. You step into the boat, feeling it shift gently under your weight. Wobble, steady. You untie the thick hemp rope, casting it off onto the dock with a soft thud. You pick up a long wooden pole and push off from the bank. Splash! The boat drifts out into the center of the current, caught by the gentle flow of the river. You are floating now. You lie down on the cushions, arranging the blankets around you until you are perfectly comfortable. You look up at the sky, which is turning a soft lavender color as evening approaches. The river carries you effortlessly downstream. You pass under the heavy branches of weeping willow, trees, their leaves trailing in the water like long green fingers. Swish, swish. You hear the sound of frogs beginning their evening chorus along the muddy banks. Croak, croak, croak. It is a rhythmic sound, a lullaby of the river. You drift past a family of ducks floating near the reeds, tucking their heads under their wings for the night. You drift past a wide meadow where fireflies are just beginning to blink on and off. Blink, blink, blink. You feel the gentle rocking of the boat as it moves over the water. Sway, sway, sway. It is the most natural feeling in the world, like being rocked in a cradle. You are being held by the water, supported by the river. You are moving without moving. The air cools slightly as the sun dips below the horizon, but you are warm under your blankets. You watch the first stars appear in the sky, pale and white against the darkening blue. You count them. 1, 2, 3, 10. You lose count. You just watch the points of light. The river widens, slowing down even more, becoming a sheet of glass. You feel a deep sense of peace settling over you. You are part of the flow. You are part of the night. You close your eyes and listen to the water lapping against the wood of the hull. Lap, lap, lap. You breathe in the cool river air, which smells of water lilies and wet earth. In, out, in, out. You feel the boat turning slowly in the current, giving you a view of the dark trees passing by on both sides. You are safe in the boat. You are safe on the river. You drift on towards the deepening night. The boat drifts slowly under the shadow of a massive stone archway, a bridge that spans the river, connecting two sides of a sleeping valley. And here in the darkness, under the stone, the air is cool and damp, echoing with the sound of the water lapping against the pilings. Lap, lap, echo lap. The boat bumps gently against a wooden jetty worn smooth by the water. Thud, rub. You reach out and grab the iron ring set into the wood, pulling the boat closer until it's secure. You climb out onto the dock, your boots making a hollow sound on the wet timber. Clump, clump. The air has changed now. It is heavy with moisture and the scent of ozone and wet slate. You look up and feel the first drops of rain beginning to fall. Plip, plop, plip. It is a gentle rain, a soft, soaking rain that washes the world clean. You pull your cloak up over your head to heavy, while turning the rain into a soft drumming sound near your ears. Drum, drum, drum. You walk off the dock and onto a cobblestone street that glistens in the light of the gas lamps. The stones are round and slick, reflecting the yellow light like hundreds of tiny moons. You walk slowly up the winding street. The village is completely silent save for the sound of the rain and your own footsteps. Crunch, splash, crunch, splash. The houses on either side are dark, their shutters closed tight against the night. You see flower boxes filled with sleeping geraniums, the red petals darkened by the rain. You see a cat sitting on a dry windowsill, watching you pass with glowing green eyes, slowly blinking once in greeting. You nod to the cat and continue on. The rain intensifies, slightly becoming a steady rhythm, a curtain of water that separates you from everything else. It is a comforting sound, a sound that says, stay inside, stay warm, rest now. You reach the center of the village where a small inn stands its sign, creaking gently in the breeze. The sign reads A Silent Hearth. You push open the heavy oak door and step inside, shaking the rain from your cloak. The room is warm and smells of roasted chestnuts and wood smoke. A fire is burning in a large stone fireplace, the logs crackling and spitting cheerfully. Crackle, pop. There is no one else here, just you and the fire. You walk over to the hearth and stand on the thick rug, feeling the heat radiating outwards, drying your damp clothes. You watch the steam rising gently from your wool cloak, curling up into the chimney. You feel a deep tiredness settling into your legs, a heaviness that comes from the fresh air and the walking. You look at the staircase in the corner, which leads up to the guest rooms. The wood is dark and polished. You walk towards it, placing your hand on the smooth banister. You climb the stairs slowly. Creak, creak. The sound is familiar and safe. You reach the landing and open the door to your room. It is a small room with a slanted ceiling tucked under the eaves of the roof. There's a wide bed covered in a white quilt that looks like a cloud. There's a small window looking out over the village. You walk to the window and look out. You see the wet roofs shining in the moonlight. You see the rain falling steadily, washing the streets. You listen to the sound of the rain on the roof just inches above your head. Tap, tap, drum, tap. It is louder here, a beautiful percussion of nature. You feel safe tucked away in this high room. You turn away from the window and sit on the edge of the bed. The mattress is soft and yields to your weight. You take off your boots, placing them side by side. Clunk, clunk. You lie down, swinging your legs up onto the bed. You pull the quilt up to your chin. It is cool and fresh, smelling of lavender. You close your eyes and let the sound of the rain wash over you. It creates a wall of white noise blocking out all thoughts. You are safe in the village. You are safe in the room. You are safe in the rain. You drift deeper into the mattress. You drift deeper into the night. The sound of the rain on the roof fades away, replaced by the quiet rustle of paper and the smell of old leather and dust as you find yourself standing in the center of a vast underground library, a labyrinth of books that stretches out in all directions as far as the eye can see. The ceiling is high and arched, made of pale stone, supported by columns that look like giant trees, their branches spreading out to hold up the weight of the earth above. The only light comes from brass lamps that hang from the ceiling on long chains, casting pools of warm golden light on the floor, while the upper shelves remain in shadow. You're walking down a long aisle between rows of towering bookcases that reach up 20 feet or more. You run your hand along the spines of the books as you pass, feeling the different textures. Rough cloth, smooth leather, embossed paper, cool buckram. You feel the history in these books, the millions of words waiting to be read. You stop and pull a book from the shelf at random. It is heavy and bound in dark blue cloth. You open it and hear the spine crack gently. CRRK. The pages are yellow with age and smell of vanilla and almond. You turn the pages slowly, listening to the soft sound they make. Swish, turn, swish, turn. You read a few lines about the migration patterns of Arctic birds. It is calm, factual knowledge. You close the book and slide it back into its place, making sure it is perfectly flush with the others. You continue walking deeper into the library. The silence here is different from the silence of the mountain or the river. It is a dense silence, a silence that is full of potential. You hear your own footsteps echoing softly on the wooden floor. Thud, thud, thud. You turn a corner and find a spiral staircase made of wrought iron. You decide to go down. You place your hand on the cold metal railing. You descend step by step. Clang, clang, clang. The air gets cooler as you go lower, smelling more of stone and earth. You reach the lower level where the oldest books are kept. Here the shelves are made of dark carved oak. There are rolling ladders attached to the shelves. You climb up one of the ladders, gliding sideways along the tracks. Roll, glide, roll. It is smooth and effortless. You are floating past centuries of knowledge. You find a small alcove with a reading desk and a comfortable leather chair. You sit down, sinking into the worn leather. It creaks softly around you. Squeak, sigh. There's a green shaded lamp on the desk, casting a focused circle of light. You see a map spread out on the desk. It is a map of the stars, a celestial chart. You trace the lines of the constellations with your finger. Orion, Ursa Major, Cassiopeia. You follow the path of the Milky Way. You feel a sense of wonder, but it is a quiet wonder, a sleepy wonder. You lean back in the chair, resting your head. You look up at the shadows on the ceiling. You listen to the hum of the ventilation system, a low, steady white noise that is barely audible but deeply soothing. Hum, hum. It sounds like the breathing of the library itself. You feel your eyes getting heavy. The golden light is warm and comforting. You are safe in the maze of books. You are hidden from the world. You are surrounded by stories, but you do not need to read them. You just need to be near them. You let your hands rest on the arms of the chair. You let your breathing slow down. In, out, in, out. You feel the weight of the silence pressing gently against your ears. You drift away from the map. You drift away from the shelves. You're floating in a sea of words. You are safe. You are quiet. You are asleep. The smell of old books and hum of the library fade away, dissolving into the scent of salt spray and wet stone as you find yourself standing in the glass lantern room of a tall lighthouse perched on a rocky cliff miles from the nearest town. It is the middle of the night, and the world outside is wrapped in a thick blanket of sea fog that swirls and eddies around the glass panes, hiding the ocean below. But you can hear it breathing heavy and rhythmic against the rocks. Crashes, crashes. You are safe inside the glass bubble, protected from the damp and the wind. You are wearing a thick wool sweater that feels rough and warm against your neck. You are watching the great lens in the center of the room, a massive crystal structure of prisms and brass that rotates slowly and silently on a bed of mercury. Spin, flash, spin, flash. You watch the beam of light cut through the fog, a solid bar of white illumination that sweeps across the darkness. It creates a hypnotic rhythm, a cycle of light and dark that never changes. You count the seconds between the flashes. 1, 2, 3, flash. 1, 2, 3, flash. It is the heartbeat of the coast. You walk around the metal walkway that encircles the lens, your hand trailing on the cool brass railing. Smooth, cold, smooth, cold. You look out at the gray nothingness of the fog. You feel like you are floating in a cloud suspended above the world. You hear the distant low moan of the foghorn from the buoy far out at sea. Moan, moan. It is a mournful sound, but deeply comforting, a sound that says someone is watching, someone is keeping guard. You sit down on a small wooden bench built into the wall of the lantern room. You lean your back against the curved wall. You watch the light sweeping over your head. Sweep, sweep, sweep. It illuminates the dust motes dancing in the air, turning them into brief sparks of gold. You feel the vibration of the rotation in the floor, a gentle hum that travels up through your boots. You feel a profound sense of isolation, but it is a good isolation, a peaceful solitude where no demands are made of you. You are simply the keeper of the light. You are the watcher in the fog. You let your eyes follow the beam, turning your head slightly to track it. Left, right, left, right. Your eyelids begin to feel heavy, weighted down by the rhythm. You listen to the ocean crashing below. It sounds far away, like a memory of the sea. You feel the damp air on your face, refreshing and cool. You pull your sweater sleeves down over your hands. You are warm. You are safe. You are drifting on the edge of the world. You let the light hypnotize you. You let the fog wrap you in its white embrace. You are asleep. The sweeping light of the lighthouse blurs and transforms into the slow, steady rotation of a massive brass gear as you find yourself standing inside the mechanism of a giant clock tower high above a sleeping city. The room is filled with the soft golden glow of gas lamps reflecting off the polished metal surfaces of thousands of cogs and wheels and springs, all moving in a complex silent dance of time. You hear the rhythmic ticking of the escapement, a sound that is loud and crisp and reassuring. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It is the sound of order, the sound of precision. You are standing on a metal grating walkway, looking down into the heart of the machine. You see gears as big as wagon wheels turning slowly with infinite power. You see tiny gears spinning so fast they are a blur. You smell the scent of clock oil and heated metal, a clean industrial smell. You watch a long pendulum swinging back and forth in the darkness below. Swing, swing, swing. It marks the passage of time without judgment, without haste. You walk along the walkway, tracing the path of the motion from one gear to the next. You see how the power is transferred, how the energy flows. It is a perfect system. You feel a sense of calm knowing that everything is working exactly as it should. You reach a small maintenance platform where a leather armchair sits waiting for the clockmaker. You sit down in the chair, which is worn and soft. You look out through the giant clock, face the glass frosted with the night air. You see the shadow of the minute hand moving imperceptibly across the glass. You're inside time itself. You listen to the ticking. It becomes a mantra. Tick-tock. You match your breathing to it. In tick, out tock. You feel the vibration of the mechanism in the chair. Hum, thrum. It massages your back gently. You watch the oil shimmering on the brass gears. You watch the shadows of the moving parts playing on the walls. It is a shadow puppet show of industry. You feel the heavy weight of sleep pressing down on you. The city below is asleep. The clock is awake, keeping watch for everyone. You do not need to worry about time. The clock has it under control. You can let go. You lean your head back. You close your eyes. You see the gears spinning behind your eyelids. Bright gold spinning. You drift deeper into the rhythm. You are a cog in a machine asleep. You are safe. You are synchronized. You are asleep. The metallic ticking of the clock tower softens and slows, turning into the rhythmic thud of dough against a wooden table as you find yourself in the warm, flour-dusted kitchen of a bakery in the middle of the night. The rest of the world is dark and cold, but here it is warm and bright, the air thick with the smell of yeast and toasted wheat and sweet sugar. You are wearing a white apron that is covered in a fine layer of flour like snow. You are standing at a massive wooden workbench, your hands deep in a mound of soft, warm dough. You are kneading it, pushing away with the heel of your hand and folding it back over. Push, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. The dough is alive, warm, and elastic under your fingers. It feels like a living thing responding to your touch. You find a rhythm, a slow, steady dance of the hands. You are not thinking about anything else, just the texture of the dough. Smooth, soft, warm. You hear the ovens humming in the background, a low roar of heat. Hum, whoosh. You hear the timer ticking softly on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. You look around the kitchen. You see rows of proving baskets lined with linen cloth waiting for the loaves. You see trays of croissants rising slowly, their layers separating. You see a bag of flour open on the counter, scoop resting in the white powder. You finish kneading the dough and shape it into a round ball. You place it in a large ceramic bowl and cover it with a damp cloth. You set it in a warm spot near the ovens to rise. Now is the time to wait. You wipe your hands on your apron. You walk over to a stool in the corner and sit down. You watch the cloth covering the dough. You imagine the yeast working inside, creating tiny bubbles of air, making the bread light and airy. Rise, expand, rise. You smell the cinnamon rolls baking in the oven, the sweet, spicy scent filling the room. It makes you feel safe and cared for. You are the provider of bread, the maker of comfort. You feel the heat from the ovens radiating across the room, warming your face and your hands. You feel a heavy drowsiness washing over you, a result of the warmth and the work. Your eyes start to close. You listen to the quiet sounds of the kitchen, the creak of the cooling racks, the hum of the refrigerator, the wind outside rattling the window pane gently. Rattle, rattle. You are safe inside. You have done your work. The bread is rising. The night is passing. You let your head drop forward slightly. You drift into a dream of wheat fields and sunshine. You are warm. You are full. You are asleep. The smell of warm yeast and baking bread fades gently into the crisp, clean scent of pine needles and ice as you find yourself sitting on a wooden porch swing of a log cabin deep in a winter forest. It is late afternoon, and the light is fading, turning the white world into shades of blue and gray. You are wrapped in a heavy buffalo check blanket made of thick wool that scratches gently against your chin, a texture that feels real and grounding. You are holding a mug of hot cocoa, the steam rising up to warm your nose, smelling of chocolate and milk. You push the swing gently with your foot. Squeak, swing, squeak, swing. The motion is slow and rhythmic, a gentle pendulum marking the time. You look out at the forest. The trees are covered in a heavy layer of snow, their branches bowed down low, touching the ground. You watch the snow beginning to fall again. It starts as a few stray flakes drifting down lazily. Then it thickens, becoming a curtain of white silence. You pick a single snowflake high up in the air and follow its path with your eyes. Drift, float, spin, land. It lands on the porch railing and melts instantly, leaving a tiny dark spot of water. You pick another flake. Drift, float, spin, land. It piles up on the railing, creating a miniature mountain range. You listen to the silence of the snow. It is a dampening silence, absorbing all the sound in the world. There are no birds, no cars, no wind, just the soft whisper of the flakes hitting the ground. You take a sip of your cocoa, tasting the sweetness and the warmth. You feel the heat spreading through your chest. You rock back and forth. Rock, rock, rock. You feel your muscles relaxing, your shoulders dropping, your jaw loosening. You are safe on the porch, protected by the roof, but close enough to touch the winter. You watch a squirrel run across the snow, leaving tiny tracks. Scamper, stop, scamper. It disappears up a tree. You are alone again. You feel a heavy sleepiness settling in your eyes. The cold air on your face contrasts with the warmth of the blanket, making you feel cozy and secure. You let your head rest against the back of the swing. You watch the snow filling up the world, covering the path, covering the steps, covering everything. It is a clean slate of white page. You drift into the whiteness. You are safe. You are warm. You are asleep. The cold winter air dissolves into the cool, dry air of a vast museum hall at night, smelling of floor wax and old stone and the faint metallic tang of bronze. You are the night watchman walking slowly through the gallery of ancient statues. The room is cavernous with a high vaulted ceiling that disappears into the shadows. The only light comes from the moon shining through the skylights, casting long pale rectangles on the polished marble floor. Step, click, step, click. Your footsteps echo softly in the immense space, a lonely but peaceful sound. You walk past rows of white marble busts, their stone eyes watching you with eternal patience. You see a statue of a Roman senator wrapped in a toga. You see a Greek athlete frozen in motion. You admire the skill of the carvers who turn stone into skin. You reach out and touch the pedestal of a statue, feeling the cool, smooth grain of the marble. Cold, solid, permanent. You are the guardian of history, the keeper of the quiet. You walk into the next room, which is filled with oil paintings in heavy gold frames. You stop in front of a landscape painting of a green valley. You look at the painted trees, the painted river. It is a window into another world. You stare at it for a long time, losing yourself in the brushstrokes. You walk to a velvet bench in the center of the room and sit down. The velvet is soft and dusty. You lean back and look up at the shadows. You listen to the silence of the building. It is a heavy silence, a silence that has lasted for centuries. You hear the settling of the building, a faint creak in the distance. Creak, silence. You feel small in this great hall, but it is a good feeling, a feeling of being part of something larger. You feel the tiredness in your legs from walking the rounds. It is a pleasant fatigue. You close your eyes and imagine the people in the paintings coming to life, quietly whispering to each other. You imagine the statues breathing softly. You are safe among the art. You are safe in the past. You let the quiet of the museum fill your mind. You are still. You are watching. You are asleep. The cool marble floor of the museum fades away, replacing the echo of footsteps with a rhythmic clatter of steel wheels on steel tracks as you find yourself lying in a sleeping car, a train crossing a vast desert at night. The air in the cabin is warm and dry, smelling faintly of sagebrush and diesel. You're lying on a narrow bunk, the sheets crisp and cool against your skin. The train is moving steadily, a long, heavy freight train that has no need to rush. Clack, clack, whoosh, clack, clack, whoosh. The rhythm is hypnotic, a repetitive percussion that vibrates through the mattress and into your spine, massaging your back. You look out the window, which is open just a crack, letting a breeze that smells of dust and cooling sand. The moon is full and bright, illuminating the desert landscape in shades of silver and blue. You see endless dunes rolling away to the horizon like frozen waves. You see cacti standing like silhouettes against the sky. You see the occasional tumbleweed caught against a fence. It is a barren landscape, a place of emptiness and peace. You watch the telephone poles whipping past the window. Zip, zip, zip. They keep time with the train. You feel the train banking slowly around a long curve, the wheels squealing softly. Squeak, clack. You settle back into the straight, track, the rhythm returning. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. You feel a profound sense of movement, of going somewhere without having to do anything. You are a passenger. You are cargo. You are safe. You take a sip of water from a bottle on the nightstand, the liquid cool and refreshing in the dry air. You fluff your pillow, punching it into the perfect shape. You pull the heavy wool blanket up to your shoulders. You close your eyes and listen to the train whistle blowing the distance, a lonely, mournful sound that echoes across the empty miles. Ho! 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 It says, I am here, I am moving, I am awake. So you can sleep. You let the sound of the wheels become your heartbeat. You let the motion of the train rock you. You drift across the desert. You drift across the night. You are traveling to the land of sleep. You are safe on the rails. You are asleep. The rhythmic clacking of the train wheels fades into the gentle hollow sound of a bamboo flute playing somewhere far away as you find yourself sitting on the wooden veranda of a traditional house overlooking a Zen garden in the late afternoon. The air is still and cool, smelling of damp moss and old pine wood. You are wearing loose, comfortable cotton clothes that allow your skin to breathe. You look out at the garden, which is a rectangular sea of white gravel raked into perfect swirling patterns that mimic the ripples of water. You step down from the veranda into your sandals. Crunch, crunch. You pick up a wooden rake, its handle smooth and polished. You begin to rake the gravel slowly and deliberately. Scratch, pull, scratch, pull. The sound is dry and rasping, a sound of cleaning and ordering. You pull the rake through the stones, creating deep furrows. You curve the lines around the large, dark rocks that stand like islands in the sea of white. You focus entirely on the lines. They must be parallel. They must be smooth. You rake for 20 minutes, your mind emptying of all thoughts except the pattern. Scratch, turn, scratch, turn. You stop and look at your work. It is perfect. It is still. You put the rake away and sit back down on the wooden floor. You listen to the water dripping from a bamboo spout into a stone basin. Drip, splash. Drip, splash. It is a slow metronome of nature. You watch a single maple leaf detach from a branch and float down to the moss. Drift, float, land. The moss is a vibrant emerald green, thick and soft, covering the ground like a carpet. You feel the peace of this place seeping into your bones. It is a place where nothing happens and everything is okay. You take a sip of green tea from a small ceramic cup. It is grassy and warm. You hold the warm cup in both hands. You close your eyes and listen to the bamboo water fountain again. Clack, splash. It is the sound of time passing drop by drop. You feel a wave of serenity washing over you. You are a stone in the garden. You are a grain of sand. You are asleep. The sound of the bamboo fountain fades away, replaced by the soft drumming of rain on heavy canvas, as you find yourself lying inside a large, comfortable tent pitched deep in a pine forest. It is nighttime and the world outside is pitch black, but inside your tent it is warm and illuminated by the soft amber glow of a battery lantern hanging from the center pole. You are lying on top of a thick sleeping bag that is soft and fluffy. You are listening to the rainstorm passing overhead. It starts as a light patter. Tap, tap, tap. Then it grows heavier. Drum, drum, drum. The sound of rain on canvas is one of the most comforting sounds in the world. It creates a protective shell around you. You hear the wind moving through the treetops high above, a rushing sound like the ocean. Whooshy, whooshy. You watch the shadows of the branches swaying on the walls of the tent. They dance and weave a silent movie of the forest. You reach out and touch the canvas wall. It is cool and taut, vibrating slightly with the impact of the rain. You feel completely safe in your dry little bubble. You hear the zipper of the tent door jingling softly in the breeze. Jingle, jingle. You check the sleeping bag, zipping it up to your chin. Zip, click. You are encased in warmth. You smell the scent of the pine needles coming through the mesh window, a sharp, fresh scent that clears your head. You lie on your back and look up at the peak of the tent. You count the seams in the fabric. You listen to a heavy drop hitting the rain fly. Thud. And another thud. You feel your body relaxing, sinking into the ground. The earth supports you. The tent shelters you. The rain sings to you. You let your eyes close. You are camping in a land of dreams. You are safe. You are dry. You are asleep. The sound of the rain on the tent dissolves into the gentle rhythmic clicking of knitting needles as you find yourself sitting in a plush armchair in a quiet sunlit room filled with baskets of colorful yarn. It is a lazy Sunday afternoon, and dust motes are dancing in the shafts of sunlight that stream through the window. You are holding a pair of wooden knitting needles. In your hands, the wood smooth and warm from your touch. You are knitting a scarf, a long strip of soft blue wool that spills over your lap like a waterfall. You loop the yarn over the needle. Loop. You pull it through. Pull. You slide the stitch off. Slide. Loop, pull, slide. Loop, pull, slide. The rhythm is steady and calming, a microscopic repetition that keeps your hands busy so your mind can rest. Click, click, click. The sound of the needles hitting each other is soft and woody, not sharp. You watch the fabric growing row by row. You count the stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. You make a mistake and have to go back. You unpick the stitch carefully. This teaches you patience. You start again. You feel the texture of the wool running through your fingers, soft and fuzzy. You look at the baskets of yarn on the floor, balls of red and green and yellow and purple. They look like soft planets. You see a cat sleeping in one of the baskets, curled up into a perfect circle. You hear the cat purring, a low rumble that vibrates across the room. Purr, purr, purr. It is the sound of pure contentment. You take a sip of water from a glass on the side table. You stretch your neck, hearing a soft pop. You go back to the knitting. Loop, pull, slide. You find yourself going into a trance. The world narrows down to the point of the needles. There is no past, there is no future. There's only the next stitch. You feel your eyelids getting heavy. The sun is warm on your legs. The chair is soft. The wool is warm. You let the knitting rest in your lap. You lean your head back against the chair. You close your eyes. You still hear the phantom clicking of the needles. Click, click. You drift away into the softness. You are safe in the yarn. You are safe in the sun. You are asleep. The clicking of the knitting needles slows and stops, fading into the distant, echoing sound of the station announcement bell as you find yourself sitting alone on a wooden bench in an old, grand train station in the middle of the night. The station is vast, with a high vaulted ceiling made of glass and iron that disappears into the shadows above. The platform is empty, stretching out long and gray under the pools of yellow light cast by the hanging lamps. You are wearing a warm trench coat, collar turned up against the cool night air. You listen to the silence of the station. It is a large, hollow silence, occasionally broken by the settling of the metal tracks. Clank, ping. You watch the dust motes swirling in the light of the lamps. You look at the large clock hanging over the platform. The hands are moving, but so slowly it seems they are standing still. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The sound echoes in the empty space. You are waiting for a train that is not coming for a long time, and that is okay. You have nowhere to be. You are simply existing in the pause between journeys. You hear the wind whistling softly through the tunnel entrance. Huh, huh. It sounds like a ghost train. You take a book from your pocket and open it, but the words blur in the dim light. So you just hold it, feeling the weight of it in your hands. You watch a moth fluttering around one of the lamps, drawn to the warmth. Flutter, flutter, tap. You feel the vibration of a distant train passing miles away, a low rumble that travels through the ground and up into the bench. Rumble, silence. You close your eyes and listen to the station breathing, the hum of the electric lights, the drip of a tap somewhere in the distance. Drip, drip, drip. It is a peaceful urban solitude. You are safe here, a traveler at rest. You lean your head back against the wall behind the bench. The brick is cool and solid. You let your shoulders drop. You let your feet relax. You are waiting for sleep to pull into the station. You are safe on the platform. You are safe in the night. You are asleep. The echo of the train station fades, replaced by the scratching sound of a quill on parchment, as you find yourself sitting at a slanted desk in a candlelit scriptorium deep within a stone monastery. The room is small and intimate, smelling of beeswax, iron gall ink, and old parchment. You are a scribe, working late into the night. You are copying a text letter by letter, stroke by stroke. You dip your quill into the inkwell. Dip tap. You bring the nib to the paper. Scritch, scratch, scritch. The sound is rough and textured. The friction of the quill against the grain of the parchment. You form a perfect capital letter, decorating it with vines and leaves. You are creating beauty in silence. You focus intensely on the ink flowing from the nib, shiny and black, turning matte as it dries. You breathe in the scent of the beeswax candle burning beside you. The flame flickers slightly, making your shadow dance on the wall. Flicker, shadow, flicker. You feel the rough texture of the parchment under your left hand, holding it steady. You hear the sound of the wind howling outside the thick stone walls, a muffled roar that makes you feel even safer inside. You are protected by stone and faith and ink. You finish a line and blow gently on the ink to dry it. Whoosh! You inspect your work. It is precise and orderly. You feel a deep satisfaction in the repetition. You dip the quill again. Dip, tap. You start the next line. Scritch, scratch. The rhythm of the writing becomes a meditation. Downstroke, upstroke, curve. Your hand moves automatically. You feel your eyes straining slightly in the dim light, a signal that it is time to rest. You put the quill down in the tray. You close the inkwell with a small click. You blow out the candle. Puff. The room plunges into darkness, but it is a soft, warm darkness. You sit there for a moment, letting your eyes adjust. You can still smell the smoke of the extinguished candle. You stand up and walk to a simple cot in the corner of the room. You lie down on the straw mattress, pulling a ruffled blanket over you. It is humble comfort. You listen to the silence of the monastery. You feel the peace of the ages. You are a keeper of words. You are safe in the dark. You are asleep. The smell of ink and candle smoke dissolves into the humid, earthy scent of wet soil and crushed green leaves as you find yourself standing inside a small glass greenhouse in the middle of a heavy rainstorm. It is daytime, but the sky is dark gray, and the rain is hammering against the glass roof. Drum, drum, splash drum. The sound is loud and encompassing, drowning out everything else. You are surrounded by shells of tropical plants, ferns, and vines that climb up the walls. The air is warm and moist, sticking to your skin in a pleasant way. You walk slowly down the narrow aisle, brushing past the leaves. Rustle, swish. You stop to look at a pitcher plant, hanging like a strange green cup. You see a drop of water fall from the ceiling and land inside the pitcher. Plop. You touch the soil of a potted palm. It is dark and damp. You pick up a watering can, even though it is raining, and water a thirsty begonia. Gurgle, splash. The smell of the wet earth rises up, rich and primal. You sit on an overturned terracotta pot in the corner. You look up at the glass roof. You see the water streaming down in sheets, blurring the world outside into a smear of green and gray. You feel like you're inside a submarine, submerged in the atmosphere. You listen to the individual drops hitting the panes. Tink, tink, thud, tink. It is a chaotic yet perfect rhythm. You watch a snail moving slowly across a leaf. Slide, slide. It moves with infinite patience. You feel your own pace slowing down to match the snail. You breathe in the oxygen-rich air. In, out, in, out. You feel a heaviness in your limbs, a result of the humidity and the sound. The rain acts as a shield, protecting you from the outside. No one can reach you here. You are just a plant among plants. You are growing quietly. You are resting. You lean your head against a wooden support beam. The wood is damp and cool. You close your eyes and let the green world absorb you. You are safe in the glass. You are safe in the rain. You are asleep. The drumming of the rain on the glass fades into the rhythmic crashing of ocean waves on a deserted beach as you find yourself walking along the shoreline at dusk. The sky is a deep bruised purple fading into black, and the first stars are beginning to appear. The air is cool and salty, filled with a fine mist that settles on your skin and tastes the sea. You are walking on the wet sand near the water's edge, where the ground is firm and cool. Crunch, squash, crunch, squash. You listen to the ocean breathing. It exhales a wave onto the shore. Crash, hiss, foam. It inhales the water back into the deep. Suck, drag, suck. It is the oldest rhythm on earth. You watch the white foam spreading out over the dark sand like lace, glowing faintly in the twilight. You walk towards a large piece of driftwood that has been bleached white by the sun and smooth by the waves. It looks like the bones of a giant sea creature. You sit down on the log, which is solid and dry. You pull your knees up to your chest and wrap your arms around them, watching the horizon. There is nothing out there but water and sky. No ships, no lights, just a vast emptiness. You feel a sense of insignificance, but it is liberating. Your problems are nothing compared to the size of the ocean. You pick up a smooth gray stone from the sand. You rub your thumb over it. Smooth, cold, ancient. You throw it into the water. Plop. It disappears instantly. You listen to the sound of the seagulls calling in the distance, a lonely, crying sound. Caw, caw, caw. They are settling down for the night on the cliffs. The wind picks up slightly, blowing your hair back. Whoosh, whoosh. It feels clean and purifying. You close your eyes and listen to the waves. They are getting louder as the tide comes in. Roar, crashes! Roar, crashes! It is a wall of sound that blocks out everything else. You feel the vibration, the crashing waves and the sand under your feet. Thud, thud. You are anchored to the shore. You are safe on the edge of the world. You let the sound wash through you, carrying away your tension. You are water. You are sand. You are asleep. The crashing of the waves fades slowly, receding into the distance until it is replaced by the hum of a hyperdrive engine as you find yourself lying inside a sleep pod on a spaceship traveling through deep space. The pod is a cocoon of white light and soft surfaces, designed for suspended animation. You are lying on a gel mattress that molds perfectly to the shape of your body, eliminating all pressure points. You feel weightless, floating in zero gravity. The air is sterile and pure, smelling of nothing but clean oxygen. You look out through the viewport of the pod. You see the universe streaming past you. The stars are streaks of light, blurring into lines of white and blue and red. You are traveling faster than the speed of light, but inside the pod, it is perfectly still. You hear the ship's computer humming softly. Hum, hum, hum. It is a sound of total control, of advanced technology keeping you safe. You see a planet passing by in the distance, a blue marble swirling with clouds. It looks peaceful and silent. You are millions of miles from home, millions of miles from worry. You are a voyager in the void. The lights in the pod begin to dim, simulating a sunset. The white turns to amber, then to a deep, soothing blue. You feel the gel mattress gently massaging your back. Wave, ripple, wave. You close your eyes, but you can still see the afterimage of the stars. You are drifting in the infinite black. There is no up, there is no down. There is only here. You let go of your body. You let go of your mind. You are just a consciousness floating in the dark. The hum of the ship becomes the hum of your own existence. You drift past the beach and the greenhouse and the monastery. You drift past the station and the tent and the garden. You drift past the train and the museum and the cabin. You drift past the bakery and the clock and the lighthouse. You drift past the library and the village and the river. You drift past the mountain and the tower. You are gathering the silence of the universe. You are gathering the peace of the stars. You sink deeper into the pod. You sink deeper into the sleep. You are safe in the ship. You are safe in the dark. You are asleep. You are asleep. You are asleep.